The Israeli military intensified airstrikes in Gaza, including near its largest hospital, while thousands of people desperate for food and basic items broke into aid warehouses in the besieged enclave. Internet and phone connectivity were restored for many people on Sunday after Israeli strikes had knocked out most communications in the territory late Friday. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Saturday called the 3-week-old Hamas war a fight for Israel's existence and said never again is now, announced a second stage in the war and said Israel is determined to bring back 229 hostages taken by Hamas during its bloody October 7 rampage. He said the war against Hamas will be a long and difficult, calling it a battle of good versus evil and a struggle for Israel's existence. Netanyahu told the nation in a televised news conference Saturday night that Israel has opened a new phase in the war by sending ground forces into Gaza and expanding attacks from the ground, air, and sea. He said these activities would only increase as Israel prepares for a broad ground invasion. The goal, he said, is the complete destruction of Hamas. The head of the World Health Organization says they managed to communicate with the agency's team in Gaza after internet and phone connectivity in the enclave were gradually restored. In a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, Tedros said, "They said the last 2 nights were extremely tense with a lot of airstrikes without fuel, water, electricity, connectivity, and safe shelter to evacuate to." He added that the WHO team, like others in Gaza, remains unsafe and called for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. WHO spokesman said the agency has 30 employees in Gaza. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has reiterated his appeal for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza and called for an unconditional release of all hostages and the delivery of sustained relief to the people in the territory. Guterres, who is on official visit to Nepal, condemned the appalling attacks perpetrated by Hamas and said there is no jurisdiction ever for the killing, injuring, and abduction of civilians. He also said he regretted Israel's move to intensify its military operations in Gaza. He also reminded Israel and Hamas about their obligations under international humanitarian law. I have always been consistent in my call for strict compliance of the well-established principles and rules of international humanitarian law. The protection of civilians is paramount. The laws of war establish rules clear to protect human life and respect humanitarian concerns. Those laws cannot be contorted for the sake of expediency. The world is witnessing a humanitarian catastrophe taking place before our eyes. Pope Francis repeatedly called for a ceasefire in Gaza on Sunday. He said, "Let's continue to pray for Ukraine and for the serious situation in Palestine and Israel and for other regions with wars. In particular, in Gaza, leave space to guarantee humanitarian aid and let the hostages be freed immediately. Let no one abandon the possibility to stop the arms. Cease fire," he added, speaking from the window of the Apostolic Palace above St. Peter's Square. He said, "Stop yourselves, brothers and sisters. War is always defeat, always, always." British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's office says he has spoken to French President Emmanuel Macron about the importance of getting urgent humanitarian support into Gaza and maintaining regional security following the expansion of Israel's military operation against Hamas. Leaders agreed to work together on efforts both to get crucial food, fuel, water, and medicine to those who need it and to get foreign nationals out. Downing Street said in a statement on Sunday that they expressed their shared concern at the risk of escalation in the wider region, in particular in the West Bank. The Prime Minister and President Macron updated on the conversations they have had with leaders in the region to stress the importance of working to ensure regional stability. Sunak and Macron agreed that it was important not to lose sight of the long-term future of the region and in particular the need for a two-state solution. The Health Ministry and Hamas-ruled Gaza said the Palestinian death toll has passed 8,000, most of them women and children. In the occupied West Bank, more than 110 Palestinians have been killed in violence and Israeli raids. More than 1,400 people were slain in Israel during a surprise incursion by Hamas terrorists, including at least 310 soldiers, according to Israeli government. 4 of the 229 hostages have been released.
Y Media.
IPTV.